For centuries, countless lives were lost chasing a myth, the lure of unimaginable wealth, a city built of pure gold glittering under the Amazonian sun. It wasn't just a dream. It was a fever, a relentless obsession that consumed kings, conquistadors, and common men alike. El Dorado wasn't merely a legend. It was a siren song that drew empires to their knees and carved a bloody path through history. This wasn't some fleeting fantasy. From the moment the first whispers reached European ears in the early 16th century, the search for El Dorado became a multi-generational quest. It fueled expeditions that reshaped continents, led to unfathomable suffering, and ultimately left behind a legacy of destruction. But where did the legend begin? It wasn't a city at first. The story originates with the Muisca people of what is now Colombia. Their sacred ritual, a king covered in gold dust, offering treasures to the gods in a pristine mountain lake, sparked the initial glimmers of the myth. Imagine this: a new ruler, the Zipa, is initiated. He's stripped, covered in a sticky resin, then dusted head to toe with fine gold powder. He becomes a living, breathing statue of gold, El Dorado, the Golden Man. He'd then be paddled to the center of Lake Guatavita, surrounded by his priests and chieftains. As trumpets sounded and incense burned, he would plunge into the waters, washing away the gold as an offering. Precious jewels and more gold artifacts would follow him into the depths. Spanish conquistadors like Sebastián de Belalcázar and Gonzalo Jiménez de Quesada first heard these tales in the 1530s. The Muisca's rich gold culture, already observed, lent credence to the extravagant stories. They'd found immense wealth in Peru and Mexico, so why not here? The legend quickly morphed. From a golden man, it became a golden kingdom, then a golden city, Manoa, Petiti, or simply El Dorado. The exact location shifted with every new rumor, every unexplored river bend, fueling an ever-growing frenzy. One of the earliest and most relentless seekers was Gonzalo Pizarro, brother of Francisco Pizarro. In 1541, he set out from Quito with hundreds of men, thousands of indigenous porters, and a herd of llamas and dogs, deep into the Amazonian jungle. Their journey was a nightmare. Starvation, disease, and hostile tribes decimated the expedition. They ate their horses, then their dogs. Many went mad from hunger and despair. Pizarro's second-in-command, Francisco de Orellana, eventually split off, continuing downriver, becoming the first European to navigate the Amazon. Orellana, too, found no golden city, only vast, unexplored wilderness and encounters with formidable indigenous peoples. His account, though, kept the dream alive, describing wealthy kingdoms, further fueling the European imagination. Then came Sir Walter Raleigh, the celebrated English explorer and favorite of Queen Elizabeth I. He made two major expeditions to the Guianas region in 1595 and 1617, convinced El Dorado lay near the Orinoco River, in a place he called Manoa. Raleigh, unlike some of his predecessors, cultivated alliances with local indigenous tribes, learning their languages and customs. He believed their stories of a powerful, gold-rich empire upriver, but his expeditions were plagued by false leads, disease, and skirmishes. His second voyage was particularly disastrous. His son Wat was killed in a fight with the Spanish. Raleigh himself returned to England empty-handed, accused of treason by King James I, who had no patience for El Dorado. He was executed in 1618. The 17th and 18th centuries saw less intense, but still persistent, searches. Jesuit missionaries and other explorers continued to push into the Amazon, charting rivers and encountering various indigenous cultures, but never the Golden City. The sheer geographic scale of the search was immense. From the high Andes of Colombia to the vast Amazon basin, from the plains of Venezuela to the jungles of Guyana, the dream of El Dorado propelled explorers into some of the most remote and challenging environments on Earth. The cost, however, was incalculable. Thousands of European lives were lost to disease, starvation, and conflict. The indigenous populations suffered even more catastrophically. Their lands were invaded, their resources plundered, and their cultures decimated by foreign diseases and brutal subjugation. The exploitation wasn't just physical. The myth of El Dorado became a convenient justification for colonization, for the brutal extraction of resources, and for the subjugation of entire peoples. It painted the continent as a treasure chest waiting to be opened, rather than a land of complex civilizations. By the 19th century, scientific exploration began to replace pure treasure hunting. Alexander von Humboldt, the great naturalist, explored South America in the early 1800s, carefully documenting its flora, fauna, and geography. He helped to demystify many of the wilder El Dorado claims. It was Humboldt who, after visiting Lake Guatavita, meticulously calculated the amount of gold that might still lie at its bottom. He concluded that any recovery would be prohibitively expensive, dampening the fervor, but not entirely extinguishing it. Attempts were made to drain Lake Guatavita. In 1801, a British company tried to drain it with a tunnel, lowering the water level significantly and exposing some artifacts, but the soft mud made full recovery impossible, and the venture ultimately failed. Later, in 1912, another drainage attempt using a dredge also largely failed, though it did recover some remarkable Muisca gold pieces, including the famous Muisca raft, a golden diorama depicting the El Dorado ceremony itself. Today, Lake Guatavita is a protected site. The Colombian government has forbidden further attempts to recover its treasures, recognizing its immense historical and cultural significance far beyond its monetary value. The Muisca story, the real El Dorado, is finally respected. The mythical city of El Dorado was never found, because it never existed as a city of gold. It was a king, a ritual, a cultural practice that Europeans, blinded by greed, twisted into something far grander and far more destructive. The real cost of the Golden Dream wasn't just the lives lost, but the profound misunderstanding and destruction of the very cultures that inspired the legend. It serves as a stark